everybody, and welcome. Part two is going to be the beginning of chapter 2 of the 7th Ray. We started yesterday. I'll put in the title description part 1 because chapter 2 is about 60 pages long, and to be honest, I don't know how much I've got left in me tonight. So we'll see how we go time-wise, okay? Good to see you. Thank you so much, Chloe. You're so sweet. You're number 1 on my channel, Chloe. Thank you. I really appreciate that donation. I'll put it to good use. I've got music a bit too loud there. Let me turn it down. Probably get my kids some ice cream or something tomorrow. Or invest it back into the channel. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Let's just make sure everything's working and you guys can see me and hear me. Right, everything says I'm okay. Hello, Elder Barry. Good to see you. I think everything's working okay. Obviously, still a rookie, getting the hang of this bit. Bear with me. Just want to make sure everything's working okay. Everybody can see me. I can't see anybody at the moment. Sounding. That's better. I can see everything now. You're number 1. Thank you, Chloe. Yeah, it's been a good day today, Chloe. Really hot again in Cardiff. I took the kids out for a nice walk down by the local river, and I really enjoyed that. It's one of my son's favourite spots. They're all fast asleep now, bless them. They should be at 11 o'clock in the evening. We'll do the same again tomorrow if it's a nice day. Take them out for a nice walk. Bank holiday Monday tomorrow, obviously, here in the UK. Okay. Right, everything there seems okay. Have a little sip of my drink. Turn up your speaking audio just a tad. Okay. That's because the microphone's all the way over here. That'll probably help a bit. How's that? Is that better? Hello, hello. Cranberry juice. Hi, Andre James. Good to see you. Favour to you. Okay, is that coming through loud and clear now? Yep. Thank you very much. Don't ever call me sir. Stands for slave I remain. Okay? Slave I remain. That's why you say it to your... You're supposed to say it to uppers. Don't ever say sir. I know you mean it in jest, but never call anybody sir. Because you're nobody's slave, are you? That's why I got these. You're all part of the resistance. We're getting focused. Join the resistance. A new hope. Not that I was obsessed with Star Wars in a previous incarnation. To give people a chance to get here before I get started. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I hope background music's not too loud. Should be okay. It's a copyright free one. I hope everybody enjoyed yesterday's chapter, the first one. Oh yeah, straight to chapter 2. Right, so yesterday was just 16 pages, and the next section is about 40, I think, in total. Background music coming through good. Okay, that's good. Right, so going from page 16, I think it goes up to about 60 somewhere. see how long I got in here and how long that takes. I don't want to make my streams too long, so I don't want to lose anybody's interest. I know anything over an hour and it start getting a bit hard work, especially when you're reading a book. Chapter 4, too far. Chapter 3, right, 60. Yeah, it's about 50 odd pages, chapter 2 for some reason. Don't know why that is. But the music is actually by Moby, believe it or not. He did an album that he made copyright free. It's in my playlist of music videos, I think. It's in there somewhere. There's about 3 or 4 of them. I think this one's the one where it's the... I can show you. It's the one... Oh, if you can see it. That's a bit blinded out, isn't it? How would you do this? Basically, oh, you can't see it. It's the one with the moon in the background. If you like that one, there's about 3 or 4 Moby tracks I've got on there. So if you would like to listen on your own setup. I bet he does turn up, Chloe. He always does that, doesn't he? Confuses me sometimes in the chat when he's saying hello to people around there. Like, have I missed someone? You know, I like to try and say hello to everybody in Wayne's chat. Nobody should ever be felt left out. That's why I do that. That's chapter 2. Okay, we got 5 people in now. Hello to everybody who's turned up. Good to see you. Very grateful for you being here. Do appreciate you all very, very, very much. Just give another minute or two. How are we doing? Nearly 10 past. Trying to keep an eye on chat, guys. Chat. I might actually get a few more of the author's books because, well, they're all relevant. I'll see if I can get them on PDF though, so I can share them out then, so you guys can read along if you want. I'm trying to find this on the PDF. Right, here we go. Let's get started then. I hope everybody's... Sorry, that's not very good, is it? Not very professional. I hope everybody's had a lovely day, a lovely evening, lovely morning, wherever you are. Hello, Thomas S. Good to meet you. Good to see you. Thank you very much, Thomas S. Very good to see you. It's lovely to see lots of new faces. Well, lots of new names I haven't seen before. And people like yourself, Thomas, coming forward and speaking up, finding a voice and saying hello. Really good to see. There's lots of people who've been following along on Wayne's channel for a long time who haven't been commenting or anything. And now you're all sort of starting to say hello and what have you. And quite a lot of you are coming over to my channel. So it's brilliant. Thank you. I really appreciate seeing you all. Really does cheer me up. So thank you very much for that comment. Tad louder. Right, okay, let's see how I can do that. Is my microphone on? It's a really fancy microphone. It does all sorts of stuff. I'm still learning. I think that is all the way up. Right, you probably can't hear me at all now, can you? That's down, I think. And I believe that's up. I think that's as loud as it goes. Is that better, Chloe? Can you hear me better now? I will speak up a bit. Hello, hello. Cigarette doesn't want to stay alight. Just giving a few people a chance to get here, guys, okay? Yep, sounds good. Thank you, Chloe. Still getting a hang of this mic. £300 microphone. Ridiculous amount of money for a microphone. It's pretty. And I did have a lot of money at the time when I bought it. I wouldn't buy that on my normal wage, don't worry. Right then, come on then, let's get cracking. One more puff. Turn that off. There we go. Right then. Hi, Scotty boy. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Sounds real good. Hi, guys. That's what I thought, Thomas. So I do a lot of, I do quite a bit of speaking. Up until now, obviously, it's the first time I've started going live, but I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos yet where I'm reading or making a declaration, things like that. So yeah, I plan on doing a lot of speaking and readings and things like that. So it's a good investment. That's what I thought. That's how I justified it to myself when I was buying it anyway. I'm glad you feel welcome, guys. You certainly should do. You're all family, the Soul Tribe family. You all feel like family to me, the energy that I get from you guys. Yeah, I've got quite a few videos in there now, Thomas, to watch. I'm not sure how many videos I've done in total. I started off on my phone. The very early ones are all done on my phone. Kind of just a hobby when I started off. Right. 6 in, that's a good start for me. Here we go. Right then. Page 16, I believe it was. Yeah, page 16. Okay, so for anybody rewatching or coming in late and catching up again, this is chapter 2 of the 7th Ray, the revealer of the New Age. Okay, chapter 2. Transition from a 6th to a 7th Ray cycle. Again, I will try and get this on PDF so you're not looking at the top of my head so I can read off the screen, but for now it's just from the book, okay? And as you can see, it's a well-read book. It's had a good reading. So chapter 2, transition from a 6th to a 7th Ray cycle. Certain great readjustments are going on in the center. Humanity editors. Not quite sure why that's in brackets. For it is beginning to conform at long last to divine intention. I have elsewhere pointed out that for the first time in the long history of human development, energy from Shambhala has made a direct impact upon this third planetary center. This is not due entirely to the point in evolution attained by mankind. This attainment is only a secondary reason or cause. It is due to the will of Sanat Kumara himself, as he prepares for a certain cosmic initiation. This initiation requires the recognition of the energies flowing through and composing that center, which we call the race of men. This creates a rearrangement within the center itself, and thus brings into manifested expression certain aspects and qualities always inherent in those energies, which have not hitherto been recognized. This creative crisis has been made possible by 3 major happenings. Number 1, the conclusion of a 25,000-year cycle or movement around what is called the Lesser Zodiac. This connotes a major cycle of experience in the life of our planetary logos. It is related to the interplay between the planetary logos and the solar logos, as the latter responds to energies emanating from the 12 zodiacal constellations. Number 2, the end of the Piscean Age. This simply means that the energies coming from Pisces during the last 2,000 years are now being rapidly superseded by energies coming from Aquarius. These result in major changes in the life of the planetary logos and potentially affect his body of manifestation through transformation from a 6th to a 7th Ray cycle. The medium of his 3 major centers, Shambhala, the hierarchy of humanity. Number 3, the increasingly dominant activity of the 7th Ray of Order or ceremonial magic, as it is somewhat erroneously called. This ray is now coming into manifestation and is in close cooperation with the two above factors. It produces also the lessening of the power of the sixth ray of idealism. This has had a long cycle and has greatly hastened the evolutionary process. It demonstrates its effective work in the emergence today of the great world ideologies. I am necessarily considering these energies only in relation to the human consciousness. And for anybody who didn't also catch the first part, this book isn't kind of like a storybook. It's from start to finish. It's a lot of quotes from the Tibetan Master's volume of books that he's put together, that each quote is his work on the seventh ray. So he's just put all of his work from the seventh ray, from all of his books, into one book. Okay, so if you hear me stopping in between and have a little chat about something, it's because it's not set out in a linear fashion. It's literally quote by quote. Okay, so it's not like you're going to lose the stream of what I'm saying. Okay, so the next one. It is apparent, therefore, that the day of opportunity is with us, and that the coming generation can, if it so wishes, perform the magical work with many of the factors present which will tend to produce satisfactory results. The fifth ray is passing out, but its influence can still be felt. The third ray is a full meridian, and the seventh ray is rapidly coming into right activity. Much will consequently occur to make man successful, provided he can preserve constantly and right orientation, purity of motive and of life, a stabilized and receptive emotional body, and that inner alignment which will make his personality a true vehicle for his soul or self. We have now to deal with the influence of a force that is waning and passing out of dominance, that of the sixth ray of devotion or idealism. It will not be possible to predicate much It will not be possible to predicate much ancient. I have no idea what that means. Ancient? That must be a spelling mistake. Beyond pointing out certain general ideas which may be of value in the contemplation of ray cycles in general. Can't see anything happening in chat. Assume everything's okay there. Yep, okay. So we'll be listening. There we go. Hello to everybody who's just come in. Appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. These rays influences work through focal points in all cases, macrocosmic and microcosmic. And these are the Etheric Centers. I think everybody's pretty much on the same sort of journey here, Thomas. Well, we're all aware that there is a journey underway anyway. The centers in the case of all beings are ever 7 in number, and are composed of diva and human units in group activity, or of force vortices, which contain in latency and hold in order activity cells with the potentiality of human manifestation. Forget not the occult truism that all forms of existence pass at one stage of their career through the human kingdom. Cosmic or extra-systematic rays impinge upon or circulate via sentries found on the second cosmic ether, but which at the present stage of objectivity become systematically visible in the fourth cosmic ether, the Buddhic. One permanent cosmic ray is the ray of our Logos himself, and the sub-rays of this ray permeate his entire system. 6 other cosmic rays animating other systems influence ours, finding their reflections in the sub-rays of our logic ray. To these 6 cosmic influences, our heavenly man responds. They absorb the influence, being centers in the body, logic, pass it through their schemes, circulate it through their own centers, chains, and transmit it onto other schemes, coloring it with their own peculiar shade and qualifying it by their own peculiar tone or note. The whole system of ray influence, or radiatory warmth, considered both physically and psychically, is one of an intricate circulation and interaction. The radiation or vibration passes in ordered cycles from its originating source, the one ray or systematic logos, to the different centers in his body. Viewed from the physical standpoint, this ray force is the energizing factor in matter. Viewed from the physical point of view, it is the qualitative faculty. From scheme to scheme, from chain to chain, and from globe to globe, this force or quality passes, circulates, both adding and at the same time abstracting, and returns to its focal point with 2 noticeable differences. A. The radiatory heat is intensified. And B. The qualitative character or color is increased. As the ray influences pass away from a race or a planet, a scheme or a solar system, it must not be supposed that it is completely abrogated. It has simply passed beyond the periphery of whatever ring passed not. It was energizing, and the force of its influence is being focused elsewhere. The original recipient becomes a channel or transmitting agent, and not so much an absorber or container. Words again are handicapping us and providing their inadequacy to express an idea. What the student should recognize is that during a cycle of ray influence, the object of its immediate attention receives and absorbs it and transmutes it according to its needs, and not so much therefore it is available for transmission. When the cycle is drawing to a close, more and more of the ray influence or magnetism will be felt elsewhere, until practically all of it will be passed on unabsorbed. This is what is beginning to happen in relation to this 6th ray of devotion. Egos who are on that particular ray will take form elsewhere on other globes and in other chains, and not so much on our planet. The vibrations of the ray will quiet down as far as we are concerned and find increased activity elsewhere. To phrase it otherwise, our planet and all thereon will become positive and non-receptive, and will temporarily repulse this particular type of force. A physical manifestation of this can be seen in the dying down of what is called Christian enthusiasm. This ray on which the Kohohan Jesus may be found will no longer pour his force to the same extent into the form he built, and it will necessarily slow but surely disintegrate, having served its purpose for close on 2,000 years. Later again, the same force will be felt returning, and a new form will be found slowly coming in to being, but along more adequate lines. It will consequently be apparent how the knowledge of these cycles and the force manifestation or obscuration of a ray will eventually lead to a working with the law and to an intelligent cooperation with a plan of evolution. It might here be stated that the 7 Kumaras, the 4 exoteric and 3 esoteric, cooperate with this law and work exoterically or esoterically according to the ray in power. With the exception of the first Kumara, the logos of our scheme, who being the synthesis pointing for all remains ever in objectivity, activity. It is this ray activity which governs the obscuration or manifestation of a system, and a scheme with all that is included in these manifestations. Hence, the emphasis laid in all occult books on the study of cycles and on the differentiation of the 100 years of Brahma into its component parts. In this knowledge lies hid the mystery of being itself, of electrical force, and of phohatic synthesis. I will make no more comments on the future effects of the ray which is passing into temporary obscuration as far as we are concerned. We shall later take up at greater length than has been possible with the other rays the subject of the seventh type of force now coming into power, and which is therefore a vital factor in the immediate evolution of man. That's a long one. How are we doing in there? Everybody okay? Hi Mary, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. Very grateful. And I always thank you for all your messages. Okay, the next quote. We come now to a consideration of the forces which are prevailing at the present time, and hence have a supreme interest in connection with what I now have to say. It might first be stated that the main problem of today is brought about by the fact that two rays of great potency are functioning simultaneously. As yet, their effects are so equally balanced that a situation is brought about which is described in the ancient archives in the following terms. This quote again. A time of rending, when the mountains which have sheltered fall from their high places, and the voices of men are lost in the crash and thunder of the fall. Such periods come only at rare and long intervals, and each time they come, a peculiarly, I struggle to say that word, peculiarly significant period of divine activity is ushered in. Old things pass entirely away, yet the ancient landmarks are restored. The seventh ray of ceremonial order or ritual is coming into manifestation. The sixth ray of idealism or of abstract visioning is slowly passing out. The seventh ray will bring into expression that which was visioned and that which constituted the ideals of the preceding cycle of sixth ray activity. One ray prepares the way for another ray, and the reason for the manifestation of one ray or another is dependent upon the plan and divine purpose. It is not often that two rays follow each other in a regular numerical sequence, such as is now happening. When this does happen, there even eventuates a rapid following of effect upon cause, and this today can provide the basis for an assured hope. The sixth ray influence served to attract men's minds towards an ideal, such as that of individual sacrifice or service, and the mystical vision was the high watermark of the period. The numerous guiding mystics of the Occident and the Orient have appeared. The seventh ray influence will in time produce the magician. But in this age, the magician will be predominantly in the class of white magic, not as in Atlantean days, when the predominance was on the side of selfish or black magic. The white magician works with the forces of nature and swings them back into control of advanced humanity. This can already be seen working out through the activity of these scientists which the latter end of the last century and this 20th century have produced. That much of their magical work has been turned into selfish channels by the tendency of this materialistic age, and that many of their wise and true discoveries in the realm of energy are today adapted to ends which serve men's hatred or love of self is equally true. But this is in no way militates against the wonder of their achievements. When the motive is transmuted from pure scientific interest to love of the divine relation, and when service to the race is the determining force, then we shall see the true white magic. Hence, therefore, the need to turn the mystic into the occultist, and to train the modern aspirant in right motive. Sorry about the sirens. Got a main road just over there, and a police station over there, so... Right. Magic. Hence, therefore, the need to turn the mystic into the occultist, and to train the modern aspirant in right motive, mind control, and brotherly love, all of which must and will express themselves through harmlessness. The most potent force in the world today is harmlessness. I speak not of non-resistance, but of that positive attitude of mind that thinks no evil. He who thinks no evil and harms naught is a citizen of God's world. The following relations between the 6th and 7th rays should be held clearly in mind, and students should grasp the relation of the immediate past to the immediate future, and see in this relation the working out of God's plan and the coming salvation of the race. A. The 6th ray fostered the vision. The 7th ray will materialize that which was visioned. B. The 6th ray produced the mystic and is culminating type of aspiration. The 7th ray will develop the magician who works in the field of white magic. C. The 6th ray, as part of the evolutionary plan, led to separations, to nationalism, and to sectarianism due to the selective nature of the mind and its tendency to divide and separate. The 7th ray will lead to fusion and synthesis, for its energy is of a type which blends spirit and matter. D. The 6th ray activity led to the formation of bands of disciples. I'm just going to high-pitched noise in my ear again. Bands of disciples working in groups but not in close relation and subject to internal dissension based on personality reactions. The 7th ray will train and send forth groups of initiates working in close unison with a plan and with each other. E. The 6th ray brought the sense of duality to a humanity which regarded itself as a physical unity. Of this attitude, the academic materialistic psychologist, well, here's a good book for dyslexic, I can tell you, are the exponents. The 7th ray will inaugurate the sense of a higher unity. First, that of the integrated personality for the masses, and secondly, that of the fusion of soul and body of the world aspirants. F. The 6th ray differentiates that aspect of the universal electrical energy which we know as modern electricity produced to serve man's material needs. The 7th ray period will familiarize man with the type of electrical phenomena that produces the coordination of all forms. G. The 6th ray influence produced the emergence in men's minds of the following knowledges. 1. Knowledge of physical plane light and electricity. 2. Among the esoteric and spiritualists of the world, knowledge of the existence of the astral light. 3. An interest in illumination, both physical and mental. 4. Astrophysics as the newer astronomical discoveries. The 7th ray will change the theories of the advanced thinkers of the race into factors of the future educational systems. Education and the growth of the understanding of illumination in all fields will eventually be regarded as synonymous ideals. H. The 6th ray taught the meaning of sacrifice, and this teaching, the crucifixion, was the outstanding emblem to the initiates. Philanthropy was the expression of the same teaching, to advanced humanity. The nebulous ideal of simply being kind is the same motivation applied to the unthinking masses. The seventh ray will bring to the consciousness of the coming initiates the concept of group service and sacrifice. This will inaugurate the age of the divine service. The vision of the giving of the individual in sacrifice and service within the group and to the group ideal will be the goal of the masses of advanced thinkers in the new age, whilst for the rest of humanity, brotherhood will be the keynote of their endeavour. These words have a wider connotation and significance than the thinkers of today can know and understand. The sixth ray promoted the growth of the spirit of individualism. Groups exist, but they are groups of individuals gathered around an individual. The seventh ray will foster the group spirit and the rhythm of the group, and the objectives of the group and the ritual working of the group will be basic phenomena. It's kind of happening with this soul tribe, isn't it? Because we're all getting lots of synchronicities, we're coming up with the same things at the same time. When I'm watching Wayne's channel, sometimes I'm thinking what he's saying, and I know he does the same thing, and others of you do exactly the same thing as well. Excuse me. J. The sixth ray influence conveyed to men the ability to recognize the historical Christ and to evolve the structure of the Christian faith, colored by a vision of a great Son of love, but qualified with expressive militancy and separativeness, based on a narrow idealism. The seventh ray will convey to man the power to recognize the cosmic Christ and to produce that future scientific religion of light which will enable man to fulfill the command of the historical Christ to permit his light to shine forth. K. The sixth ray produced the great idealistic religions with their vision and their necessary narrowness, a narrowness that is needed to safeguard infant souls. The seventh ray will release the developed souls from the nursery stage and inaugurate that scientific understanding of the divine purpose which will foster the coming religious synthesis. And L, this is the last one. The effect of the sixth ray influence has been to foster the separative instincts, dogmatic religion, scientific factual accuracy, schools of thought with their doctrinal barriers and exclusiveness, and the occult of partitionism. The seventh ray will prepare the way for the recognition of the wider issue, which will materialize as the New World religion, which will emphasize unity but bar out uniformity. It will prepare for the scientific technique which will demonstrate the universal light that has every form, veils and hides, and for that internationalism which will express itself as practical brotherhood, as peace and goodwill between the peoples. I could continue emphasizing these relations, but I have enumerated enough to show the beauty of the preparation made by the sixth great lord of idealism for the work of the seventh lord of ceremonial. That's the end of that quote. Hello to everybody else who's joined me. Very grateful for you being here. Let's have a quick look, see who we've got coming in. Hi Angelfish, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Hi Heather, nice to see you. Hi Michelle, good to see you there. Very grateful for you coming, thank you. Try not to miss anybody. Hi Emerald Eagle, very good to see you. Thank you for turning up. Very grateful for you being here. And thank you very much. Hi Delaney, or should I say Oracle, good to see you. I start calling you Oracle. I didn't realise that that's who you reminded me of, Delaney. Delaney is the Oracle from the Matrix, guys. Right, on with the next one. I think I've caught up with everybody. Sorry if I've missed anybody. Don't think I have. But welcome, everybody. Right, so next section. Another factor enters now, a factor that varies somewhat according to the need of the period. All cycles are not as fundamentally important. The periods in the cycle that are of real moment are the termini, and those where overlapping and merging occur. They demonstrate on the physical plane in great revolutions, gigantic cataclysms, and fundamental upheavals in all three departments of the hierarchy. The department of the world teacher, that of the head of a root race, and that of the ruler of civilization or of force. At the point of merging in a cycle, cross currents are found, and all the system seems to be in a chaotic condition. The middle part of a cycle, where the incoming vibration is stabilized and the old has passed away, manifests in a period of calm and apparent equilibrium. At no time in the history of the race has this been better shown than in the present half-century. The sixth ray of devotion passes away, and the ray of ceremonial law enters. And with that entering comes a swinging into prominence of the outstanding features and faculties of the department of force and activity. The synthesis, forget not, of the four minor rays. Therefore you have the fighting for ideals and the devoted adherence to a cause, as demonstrated under the ray of the Master Jesus. Therefore, the clashing in every field of endeavour of the idealists, right or wrong, and their bitter warfare. What was the world war but the culmination of two opposing ideals fighting it out on the physical plane? It was an instance of the force of the sixth ray. Now will come the sixth ray passes out, and gradual cessation of the clashing, and the gradual domination of organization, rule and order under the sway of the incoming force, that of the ray of the Master are. Out of the present turbulence will arise the order and organized form of the new world. Gradually, the new rhythm will impose itself on the disorganized communities of men, and instead of social chaos as now, you will have social order and rule instead of the religious differences and the differentiated secrets of the many so-called religions. You will have religious expression itself regulated into form and all ordered by law. Instead of economic and potential political strain and stress, will be seeing the harmonious working of the system under a certain fundamental forms. All will be dominated by ceremonial, with the inner result aimed at by the hierarchy gradually taking shape. Forget not that in the apotheosis of law and order and their resultant forms and limitations lies towards the close. I choose my words with deliberation. A fresh period of chaos and the escape of the imposed life from those limitations, bearing with it the imparted faculty and the essence of the development aimed at by the logos of the seventh ray. Such is the situation from time to time, down through the age. Each ray sweeps into power, bearing its own incarnating spirits, to whom the period marks a point of least resistance comparatively. They contact 6 other types of force in the worlds and 6 other groups of beings who must be impressed by that force and carried forward in its sweep towards the universal goal. Music, slow down a minute. Such is also the specific situation in the period in which you live, a period where the seventh logos of ceremonial law and order seek to straighten out the temporary chaos and aims at the reduction within limits of the life escaping from the old and worn-out forms. The new forms are needed now and will be adequate. It is only after the middle period in the new cycle that limitation will again be felt and the attempt to escape be started anew. Therefore, the wise teacher at this time considers the situation and weighs the effect of the incoming ray on the spirits in incarnation. Here, therefore, you have a third ray, and its bearing to be considered in the assigning of meditation. Complex you feel the task to be. Fortunately, the Hall of Wisdom equips its graduates for the task. At this particular period, the aspect of the form in meditation, whether meditation based principally on the egoic ray or on the personality ray, will be much developed. You can look to see very definite forms build up and assigned, both to individuals and to groups, resulting in an increasing of white magic and the consequent results on the physical plane of law and order. The coming period of reconstruction goes forward in line with the ray, and its ultimate success and achievement is more nearly possible than perhaps is looked for. The Great Lord comes in under the law, and naught can stop his approach. Just now, the great need of the time is for those who understand the law and can work with it. Now the opportunity too for the development of that principle and the training of people in the helping of the world. The minor rays of harmony and science respond quickly to this seventh influence. By that statement, I mean that their monads are easily influenced in this direction. The monads of the sixth ray of devotion find conformity more difficult until nearing the point of synthesis. The monads of the first and second ray find in the ray a field of expression. The first ray monads have a direct link with this ray and seek to wield the law through power, while second ray monads begin the synthetic type guide and rule through love. That's the end of that quote. How's everybody doing there? So nice to see everybody chatting away there. Okay, the next one. Next quote. Besides regarding the rays as the channels through which all beings flow, we must recognize them as influences operating on the world in turn. Each ray has its period of greatest influence to which all are subject to a considerable extent, not merely those belonging by nature to that particular ray, but those on all the other rays as well. The long period of influence of each is divided into 7 stages, each of which is qualified by the influence of the greater ray period, being intensified when its own sub-ray period is reached, i.e. the 6th ray influence is greatest during the period of the 6th sub-ray. We must carefully note that the term sub-ray is used merely for the convenience to designate the shorter period of influence, not as indicating any difference in nature of the ray. We are told that the dominant ray at the present time, though passing out, is the 6th ray of devotion, and that this ray was already in operation before the dawn of Christianity. Also that the 7th sub-ray, became the modifying influence about 75 years ago, 1860, and of course will continue as such. The first outcome of this 7th sub-ray influence was the Ecumenical Council at Rome in 1870. With its declaration of papal infallibility, the Tractarian movement in England started at the same time. Whilst the progress of the seventh sub-ray influence still going on is marked by the steady increase of ritualism and sacerdotalism in the various churches, and even in the Church of Rome, there has been a distinct tightening of priestly authority in all matters of dogma and practice. So much for all its influence on religious thought. Its other aspects will be considered later. We have also been told that the religious revival under Wesley and Whitfield in England was under the sixth sub-ray, and I think that we are justified in drawing the inference that the rise of Molinos and the Quietists in Spain and Central Europe, and of Saint Martin and his band of spiritual philosophers in France and elsewhere may have also marked the progress of the same period during which the ray of devotion was accentuated by its own sixth sub-ray. With these few isolated facts before us, we may perhaps conclude that the time during which each sub-ray exerts its modifying influence is between 150 and 200 years. We do not know how often, perhaps 7 times, the sub-rays are repeated successively within the cycle of the Great Ray. It must manifestly be more than once, seeing that the Great Sixth Ray was operating before the rise of Christianity, and it's also apparent that the Buddhism cannot have been, as was at one time thought, the last outcome of the Great Second Ray period. For the interval between the rise of Buddhism and that of Christianity was only 500 years. It seems probable that the Buddhism arose under the influence of the second sub-ray of the Great Sixth Ray period. In attempting to trace back the influence, which was the last outcome of the sub-rays 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, somebody folded the page there. It has been suggested that this period of the alchemists and Rosicrucians may have been dominated by the fifth sub-ray, the epoch of the flagellants and other fraternal enthusiasts who practiced self-torture and mutilation was influenced by the fourth sub-ray, and the time when astrology was widely practiced as representing the third sub-ray, while the earlier epoch of the Gnostics may have been the outcome of the second sub-ray. But these are only conjectures, and while the last named is possible, there can be no such correspondence of time in the previous cases, as the alchemists, flagellants, and astrologers were all more or less contemporary during the Middle Ages. That's the end of that quote. Let me just see what's going on with the music a second. Not that we have to have music, but it's all in 432 Hz with a theta wave, so it should help you. That's the idea anyway.
There is a bizarre...
Nope, we don't want Jimmy. I don't know where that's come up. Copyright for that. Well, if you've never actually seen him, that was Jimmy from Bright Insight. Brilliant chap. Go check him out. Really good. Bright Insight. Which is what he does have. He has very bright insights. It was him that came up with the Eye of Sahara being Atlantis. Just scrolling through my music a second, guys. Between quotes, anyway. And I've got a lot of videos. Hope you're all enjoying the read. There we go. How long have we been going for? Nearly an hour already. A half-hour track. There we go. I hope you're all doing okay in there. Hi, Brandy. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Hope I haven't missed anybody else coming in. Brandy Robertson there. Sorry, it's not dance music, Brandy. Okay, right, next quote. It remains for us now to consider the energy of the two minor rays, the 6th and the 7th, which are in many ways of more immediate moment to the masses and of a tremendous effectiveness. One is of moment because of its pronounced hold and because of the crystallization it has produced, particularly in the world of thought, and the other because its hold and its power is its influences and its effects will be on an increasing momentum. One is potent in producing the necessity for the present chaos, and other is potential and holds in its activity the seeds of the future. See, this is why I thought this book was very relevant for now. It's basically explaining the chaos that's going on, and that there is going to be a period afterwards where everything's going to be a lot better, guys. Apparently. This is a fact of great interest and of really practical import. It takes us, moreover, into the realm of provision. I would have you remember that at this point, that no provision is divorced entirely from the past, but that there must always be the seed of truth. The law of cause and effect holds good eternally, and particularly so in the realm of spiritual insight, so rapidly developing at this time, which enables the seer to see the future as it may be and to forecast coming eventualities. There are several ways in which such provision can, during the next 3 centuries, be developed in the race of men. Number 1, through the development of soul contact among the advanced members of the race. This contact relates soul knowledge with the brain impression, and if the meditating factor of the mind is duly trained and controlled, there will be a correct foreknowledge of individual destiny and upcoming events. Through the development, number 2, through the development of the science of astrology, it's a bit loud, a science which is as yet in the infancy and which is based on so many uncertain factors that it is difficult for a student to arrive at those true indications which will truly present in the future. Character indications and small personality happenings can frequently and correctly be deduced, but the general subject remains until today much too nebulous for certitude. I will later deal with this matter and will indicate the lines along which future investigations should proceed. Number 3, through the reoccurrence of soothsaying and the reappearance of those ancient informers of the race, who in Roman times were called Sibyls. These mediums, for such they were, will be trained by the workers upon the 7th ray to speak under inspiration from the hierarchy whose foreknowledge extends far ahead into the future, but does not extend beyond 2,000 years. These mediums will, however, only be used under direction after careful training and only twice a year as the May and June full moon rituals. As to the provision within which I shall deal, unorthodox as it may appear to be to some of you, it will be based upon 2 factors. First of all, the logical indications to be gathered from past and present events, which condition the immediate future and which must inevitably lead to definite and tangible happenings. Any deep student of human affairs could follow the same line of reasoning and come to approximately the same conclusion, provided he loved his fellowmen enough to see them truly as they were and allow consequently for the appearance of the unexpected. And secondly, what I may say to you is based on a knowledge of the Ray influences, which are at this time so powerful and effectively affecting humanity and its coming civilization and culture. I would ask you therefore to read what I have to say with an open mind. I would beg you to relate my words to present world conditions and to see emerging from the realms of subjectivity those forces and potencies which are directly changing the current of men's thoughts, which are moulding their ideas and incidentally altering the face of the earth and the policies of nations. As you know, there are at this time two minor rays, which are rays of attribute, affecting powerfully the destiny of mankind. These are the sixth ray of abstract devotion or idealism and the seventh ray of ceremonial magic or organization. The sixth ray began to pass out of manifestation in 1625 after a long period of influence, whilst the seventh ray of ceremonial order began to come into manifestation in 1675. There are 3 points to be remembered in connection with these two rays and their effect upon the race of men. I am not here dealing with their effects upon the other kingdoms in nature. Number 1. The sixth ray is, as you know, the most powerful in manifestation at this time, and very large number of people are responsive to its influence. It is still the line of least resistance for the majority, particularly in the Aryan race, for the reason that when in process of time and through evolution, the influence of a ray has become potent. It is groups that are preliminarily affected and not just individuals. A rhythm and a momentum is then set up, which lasts a long time and which gains power through the very force of organized numbers. This truth will emerge more clearly as we proceed with our studies. Suffice it to say that the sixth ray people are the reactionaries and conservatives, the diehards and the fanatics who hold on to all that is of the past and whose influence is potent to hinder the progress of humanity into the new age. Their name is Legion. Been hearing that word a lot lately, Legion. They provide, however, a needed balance and are responsible for a steadying process which is much needed in the world at this time. Number 2. The seventh ray is steadily gaining momentum and has for a long time been stimulating and enhancing the activity of all fifth ray nations. If you bear in mind that one of the major objectives of seventh ray energy is to bring together and to relate spirit and matter, and also substance and form, note this distinction. You can see for yourself that the work of science is closely connected with this endeavor, and that the creation of the new forms will definitely be the result of working interaction between the rulers of the fifth and second and the seventh rays, aided by the help on demand of the rulers of the fifth ray. A large number of seventh ray egos or souls, and also of men and women with seventh ray personalities, are coming into incarnation now, and to them is communicated the task of organizing the activities of the new era and of ending the old methods of life and the old crystallized attitudes of life to death, to leisure, and to the population. Excuse me. Number 3, the result of the increasing flow of the seventh ray energy plus the decreasing influence of the sixth ray, which shows itself as a pronounced crystallization of the standardized and accepted form of belief. Religious, social, and philosophic is to throw the millions of people who do not respond to either of the above influences through egoic or personality relation into a state of bewilderment. They feel entirely lost and are gripped by the idea that life holds for them no desirable future. You see that a lot in kids these days, don't you? No desirable future. They'll feel lost and they don't have a future, so they just give in and anarchy and violence, hopelessness, all that kind of stuff. You see a lot of in the youth of today. It's really sad. That's why. All that they have learned to cherish and to hold dear is rapidly failing. These three groups of people, influenced by the sixth and seventh ray, or who are bewildered by the impact of forces generated by those rays, and those who must, together with understanding and clear vision, bring order out of the present chaos. They must materialize those new and desirable conditions which will conform to the subjective pattern in the minds of the illuminated people of the world, and to the spiritual plan as it exists in the consciousness of the members of the hierarchy. The New Age, with its peculiar civilization and culture, will be brought into manifestation through the collaboration of the well-intentioned many, that's you lot, responsiveness increasingly to the good of the whole and not of the individual. They are the idealistic but practical thinkers influenced by the pattern of things to come and the world disciples, impressed by the plans and under the instruction of the hierarchy which is directing the controlling all. It is with these three groups of people and with their work upon which they are engaged that any provision I may evident will consequently deal. All changes in connection with the human family and fourth kingdom in nature are always dependent on three factors. Number one, those outer physical events which are definitely acts of God and over which no human being has the slightest authority. Number two, the activity of human beings themselves working on all the different rays, but in any given time and in any peculiar period conditioned by the preponderance of egos to be found on any peculiar ray. There are a very large number of second ray egos in incarnation today, and their work and their lives will facilitate the coming great approach. The nature and the quality of the predominating personality rays of the majority. At this time, there are a vast number of souls in incarnation whose personality rays are either the sixth or the third. They condition the coming civilization outstandingly, including all educational and financial enterprises, just as the influence of those who have soul contact and can express soul quality, condition, and determine the current culture. The activity of the fifth principle, the mind principle, is peculiarly active today in a broad and general sense. If I might put it symbolically, the vertical activity of the mind, which has affected individuals everywhere down the ages, has always produced the mental guides and directors and the leaders of humanity. Today, the horizontal activity of the mind, embracing huge masses of the populace and sometimes enter nations and races, can everywhere be seen, and this must lead inevitably to events and effects hitherto unvisioned and impossible. The influence of the outgoing and the incoming rays at any time. You have often been told that these events for the emergence or disappearance of a ray influence is an event in time, are a matter of slow development and are psychic in nature and are governed by law. The length of time in which a ray appears, manifests, and does its work, and finally disappears is one of the secrets of initiation. But as time elapses and the nature of time itself is better understood, the period and the time equation of the minor rays of attribute will be established, but that time is not yet. Although the intense interest taken today in the phenomena of time indicates a growing awareness of the problem itself and of the need for understanding the relation of time, both to space and to event, it will be realized before long that time is entirely a brain event, a study of the sense of speed as registered by the brain, plus the capacity or incapacity of a human being to express this speed, will, when properly approached, reveal much that today remains a mystery. It's interesting. Everybody okay in there? Hiya, Laurie, Pure Love Ascension. Great to see you. Thank you for coming. Really good to see you. I missed anybody else coming in? Really good to see you, Laurie. Thank you so much for coming. Looks like you're all chatting away there. And we're out to Thomas. We'll have to have a look at the back of that. Right, how are we doing? What are we doing for time? Okay, gone over an hour already. That was quick. Okay, I'm just going to finish this section off. I think I'm going to call it a night then, guys. I'm getting a bit blurry-eyed now. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, this is a long chapter. We're about halfway through. Yeah, about halfway through, which I haven't done too bad. I'll pick up after this section tomorrow, probably, yeah, tomorrow evening. Probably do another one tomorrow. Right, okay, it's a mystery. Right, okay, so the approach revealed much that today remains a mystery. At this time, the whole world is embroiled in the chaos and the turmoil incident upon the clashing of the forces of the 6th and 7th rays. As one ray passes out and another comes into manifestation, and their impact upon the earth and upon all the forms in all the kingdoms of nature has reached the point where the two influences are equalized, then a definite point of crisis is reached. Must be what we're going through now. This is what has occurred today, and humanity, subjected to two types of forms of energy, is thrown off center, and hence the intense difficulty and tension of the present world period. The cause of this is not only the impact of the two types of energy beating upon the forms of life with equal force, but also that the energy of humanity itself, which is a combination of the 4th and 5th rays, is swept into the conflict. To this must also be added the energy of the animal kingdom, again a combination of the energies of 3rd, 5th and 6th rays. For this governs the animal or physical form of every human being. You have therefore a meeting of many conflicting forces, and the world Arjuna is faced with a stupendous battle, one that is recurrent and cyclic, but which will in this peculiar era prove a decisive and determining factor in the age-old conflict between material domination and spiritual control. The forces playing upon the planet at this time are of supreme importance. If you'll bear in mind that the 6th ray works through the control and controls the solar plexus, being closely related to the astral plane and 6th level of awareness, and that the 7th ray controls the sacral center, you will see why there is so much emotion, so much idealism, and so much desire mixed up in connection with the world conflict, and why also, apart from the storms in the political arena and the religious field, that sex and its various problems has reached a point of interest in the human consciousness, where a solution of these difficulties, a fresh understanding of the underlying implications, and a frank dealing with the situation is inevitable and immediate. Okay, that was the end of that quote. So I'm going to call it a day there, okay? So tomorrow evening we'll carry on from page 37. Make a mark there so I don't lose my place. There we go. Now I truly do appreciate you all coming. especially if you're in the UK, because it's a bit on the late side. It's midnight now. I truly do appreciate each and every one of you coming here to my live streams, especially where I've only just started. I'm doing pretty good there with 12 people in at the moment after an hour and a quarter. So I do really appreciate you all. Very grateful. Hi Max G, good to see you. Just coming in at the end there, my friend. I'm just going to be ending the stream in a moment. Okay. But thank you all so much for coming. Chloe, thank you very much. My first ever, I forgot what it's called now. So a super chat thing. My very first donation on my channel. Thank you, Chloe. Really, really, really appreciate that. Very grateful. Yes, well, thank you all so much for coming. I really do appreciate it. I hope you all have a lovely evening wherever you are. I may come on a bit earlier tomorrow. I had my 3 children for the weekend. They're going back to their mums tomorrow, so I'll have more time earlier on in the evening. So I don't know, maybe might be a bit hour or 2 earlier. Keep your eyes open. I'll post a link. Okay. Yeah. So thank you all very much for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget, be the frequency that you want to receive. There's so much truth in that you will not believe. What you pour out comes back to you. I love each and every one of you. I love you, Soul Tribe. And I'll probably see you all first. Oh, yeah, Deborah. Good to see you. Thank you. So I'll probably see you all first in Wayne's chat tomorrow. And then I'll see you later on in the evening on my channel, okay? So I love you all. Be the frequency you want to see. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.